Okay, hi everyone. I'm Tom Storrar from the UK National Archives, and this is Manuela Pallotto Strickland from King's College London. So this project is a sort of offspring from actually the two last IIPC conferences we've been at. And it's based on sort of a mutual acknowledgement. I've been doing web archiving for a while. Manuela's more of a digital preservation, digital archiving from that sort of background. So it's a sort of recognition that we have that when we're talking about digital objects in the context of the web, we tend to be talking about different things from our different perspectives. So, for example, digital objects in the web archive are often distributed, and they're not as self-contained as ones that are in the context of digital archiving. So furthermore, there are also some fundamentals such as WAC files, CDX, and web archiving practice that are worthy of description, we believe. So we thought that we'd be able to achieve this by using RDF. So as we know, web archiving is extremely efficient, and the amount of data and metadata generated through these processes is enormous. So typically only a small subset of this is surfaced to end users. And this is for good reason in many cases. But some important aspects of this are around context. So web resources operate as part of a network, and WAC files contain segments of that network. Often contextual information, such as backlinking, like between particular resources. So in this case, where you have a CSV file that is referenced on a web page, that information can be lost. And in many ways, this is actually a wider web problem, but it can also it's also exacerbated in the web archive. Versioning and near duplication is also a problem, and a kind of divergence in many ways from digital archiving, digital preservation practice. So historically, at least at the National Archives, we've been fairly relaxed about duplication, but obviously it creates problems down the line around sustainability and also use of the archive. So I'm going to hand over to Manuela there.
Which one is that? That one? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do... We wrote an ontology, which we called Do Work, in order to try to address these gaps. So Do Work is a domain ontology for the semantic modeling of web archiving artifacts, such as WAC and CDX files that Tom talked about, their components, and also their derivatives. It really is a metadata tool to be used by web archivists, digital preservationists, librarians, and digital archivists. So we aim to use Do Work to automate the semantic description of web archiving artifacts at scale by describing the relationships between web archiving artifacts as RDF statements. We can formalize in an effective way the relationships between versions of the same web artifacts, and we can also define the context in which such artifacts are captured. We think that that in this way, both web archiving and preservation of web archived content can achieve more sustainable and accessible ways to reuse it in the future. So our ontology is based on the ORE data model. Besides ORE, we have reused various mature, well-known and well-supported existing ontologies, obviously Dublin Core, FORF, but also PROV, PAV, and Premise. We have also extended FRBR and recording context to support reuse of the ontology in libraries and archives alike. So the Do Work ontology is in version 0.1 state, and we have areas that need to be expanded and very much refined. We would love to get feedback and any comments, suggestions. So come to find us, please, after any break. And I will hand it back to Tom to talk about the unanswered questions that we still have.
Great. Okay, 20 seconds, I think. So, so basically, we need to look at implementation, about how this can be done, and how we can disseminate this knowledge, how we can also refine it based on feedback, hopefully, and ensuring interoperability with other models and potentially tools in the future. And we've also not yet given any thought to social media archives. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.